What's going on, Samuel?
What's going on, Parker? Happy Fortitude and 15 Thursday.
Happy Fortitude and 15 Thursday. I just want to start actually by saying rest in peace to Taylor Hawkins of the Foo Fighters. He passed away past weekend, the drummer, and it really hit me hard because I'm a big Foo Fighters fan, and he was 50 years old. Crazy. They were about to perform, like literally the next day. They're on tour, and died. It's so sad, and it's just like, it's just crazy. I don't know. And like Dave Grohl's story, if you know Dave Grohl's story, he's the lead singer of Foo Fighters, but he also was part of Nirvana, and he was actually the lead drummer for Nirvana, and the lead singer of Nirvana also died when he was part of that band. And then they stopped the band. They put together, Dave Grohl put together Foo Fighters and became the lead singer, but then the drummer passed away. So it's just sad. I wanted to start with that because it just, things like that when you hear it, someone so famous and sound like such an inspiring, good, great human being just pass away. It puts things in perspective. So I'm starting out with that perspective.
And what are you going to finish with? What perspective? You've been talking up a quote.
We continuously get reminded as we get older and older through death and, people who we know more and more about, passing. And it's just, it always is hard to hear about something like that. And it's just crazy. We get older, dude. Like, we're 26 years old right now. And like, the older you get, the more people pass. And it was hard. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't say the same. I really can't say I feel the same way about most celebrity deaths, to be perfectly honest. When it's like closer in the family, I think it hits home, like someone like with the celebrities. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I don't have like a big affinity for fame. Like, I don't get enamored by that.
Yeah,
so,
I see what you're saying. I just think it's one thing, like music in general. Like, he was so, like, I listened to Foo Fighters a lot. Like, he was part of, their music is so, if you listen to it, it's gotten me through hard times, and it's just, I have that connection to the band, but also to him.
Sure.
And you watch, like,
that's fair.
His struggle over the years with drug addiction and what he's gone through. And I was connected to him, and it's sad. I didn't know him personally, but it's tough. But I see what you're saying.
No, you're kind of right. And now you're making me think a little bit differently about it. I feel less of an affinity to most like celebrities, but characters I actually feel an even more of affinity towards, right? I don't know if you've heard the song. I think it's a 21 Pilots song or whatever.
Dude, I know 21 Pilots.
The song about The Office.
The Office?
Have you heard that song? Song about The Office. We're going to find it. It's AJR. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know.
AJR song about like
much bigger 21 Pilots.
And they're essentially talking about how this guy, the main character in this song, grew up and had his biggest, hardest moments throughout watching The Office because it was on for so many years, and how it shaped him, and he remembers where he was when certain events happened and what episodes were on that cheered him up or made him sad or taught him a lesson, right? And so just like you're saying with celebrities who were touched your life through music, some of the characters and actors that we grew up with also shaped us through hard events. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's always a wake-up call when you talk about death for people that you feel have touched your life.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about death plenty on the podcast and with other guests and whatnot. It's something that's a reminder, I think, to
totally,
be grateful for what we have and where we are, and take every day as it's your last. Take it, try not to take things for granted, which we often do a lot.
Yeah.
So
we complain
let's get
about stupid
into
shit.
The topic of the day. I read this quote by Adam Grant, psychologist. You may know
Adam
him,
Grant.
right? Adam Grant's
I
great.
do.
He's great on Twitter. Love his stuff. Everybody's like a knowledge bomb every time he speaks. But he wrote this quote on criticism. Criticizing is easy and fast. Creating is difficult and slow. The 2 hours you spent on a book or a movie usually took 2 years or more to produce. Anyone can tear down someone else's work. The true test of insight is whether you can help them improve it or build something of your own. I just think it's so interesting. Like, this thing caught my eye, obviously, because what we're doing with Elevation Nation, like, we've put that sweat equity into building the podcast, right? And, you know, we've heard criticism through this whole thing. It's so easy to criticize something that you're not a part of because it's easy and quick, but you're not part of the grind. You know, we've been doing this thing. I mean, Elevation Nation is an extension of Hired You, which we started even before we started our jobs, which was in 2018, right? Like,
yeah, it's been a while.
And it's crazy. It puts me in perspective too. When I criticize someone else's work or like a movie or whatever, it's like, dang, they put time and effort into that thing. And I just get to sit here and make the judgment call whether it's worth it or not. What do you think about that?
So I agree and I disagree, right?
With the quote or with what I said?
With what you just said, right?
Okay.
I think it's totally unfair that people criticize when they don't know the struggle. But what I do think is fair is that some content or art, whatever it may be, whatever you created, is not for everyone.
That's
and
true.
Their criticism of it does not necessarily mean it's bad, right? We started Elevation Nation to help young people conquer the real world, to help people who are looking to elevate their mindset, grow, and improve. For people who are not interested in that, or not in that stage of their life, or don't care about elevating, for whatever reason it may be, maybe that isn't, Elevation Nation isn't for them. And them criticizing it and saying, this doesn't resonate with me, or I didn't enjoy what they talked about, that's not necessarily critiquing because it's bad, but it's critiquing because it didn't sit with them. And is that bad? Is that good? You can't create something for everyone. You know?
I see what you're saying, but I think the quote is also like, it's so easy to criticize, but like, to be honest, if you're someone I like value, like the way you say something, like, why are you criticizing? What about helping me? Giving me feedback, not just criticizing, but like also helping me understand why you're feeling that way, and maybe give me good pointers or like, hey, you guys should think about this or this or this. You know what I mean? And it happens in other areas of our life too, rather than just the podcast. I mean, think about that. Whether it's at work or
going back though to one of your favorite guys, Steve Jobs, right? When asking about making the iPhone, right? They said, well, did you do focus groups to figure that out, right? And he said, no, you can't ask customers what they want because they'll tell you things that already existed, right? Is it kind of the same way with criticisms where if something's so new that they don't realize the impact that it has, it's easy to criticize things that they are, I don't know, uncomfortable with because it's new, because it's different, or because it asks hard questions. So it's easier for them to stay in their comfort zone with what they know and what's true. There's a lot of different ways to interpret this quote. That's why it's cool, I think. But I agree, man. Like getting back to our story, when we first started this stuff, I was petrified. Like you were a little more confident than I was. I was scared to put our face in front of something. That was scary. That was a scary task. And, we might not have gotten a ton of negative feedback, but we got some. And that hurt, right? Like that's never fun. It's never fun to have something that you care so much about, other people not like it. It's tough.
Yeah.
But it's a risk you take.
I mean, yeah. I just like criticizing is such an interesting thing. Like, why are you have the right to criticize? Like, why do I have the right, Sam, to criticize like your work, even with Elevation Nation? If I'm just coming at you to be like, yo, dude, what the hell? Why did you do that? Why did you say that? Like, without saying anything different. Obviously, you and I have a relationship where we care. We talk through that, and we get to a point where we both learn, and we let our egos, down a little to get something out of that. But I just think it's, as a young adult, it's a really key attribute to have, is if you're criticizing, also provide some, also, something that person can take. Like, what did they do? Don't just criticize. Also say the good things that they're going and doing well. You know what I mean? We often just jump to the things that jump out,
Yeah, that's not the world we live in, sadly. Right? A lot more negativity. A lot easier to say something bad than good. Maybe that'll change.
That is crazy to think about. It is a lot easier to say something bad than good. Like, why is that the case?
Everyone needs to go to therapy.
Are we just saying that? No, I think that's like a thing that, it's so much easier to criticize and tell someone they're doing an awesome job. Right? No, I don't think it is.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the society that we're born in. I don't think social media is helping. I can tell
everyone wants to belittle everyone else to put themselves
because it
up
makes
on
you
a pedestal.
feel better. Mm-hmm. Totally. It's strange.
Yeah, it's strange, especially in creative work.
Yeah. I mean, so all right, bring it back to the book I'm reading right now. I'm reading Steve Jobs, Parker, which he recommended for me. And dude, he would work with artists or engineers. He'd call them in for a review, and he'd literally just look at them and go, "This is shit." Right?
Yeah,
is that criticizing them?
The best person.
Okay, but hold on. Why not?
I see what
He's
you're
one of
saying.
the most innovative people on the planet, and he bypassed the niceties by just being honest and saying, "This is shit. I know you can do better." Isn't that a compliment when someone knows that you can elevate your work to an even higher level, that you can push further? Right?
I totally
my coaches used to say, if we aren't yelling at you, there's a problem. And that never resonated with me until I got to probably junior year when I got smart enough to figure it out. And Coach Ambrose would say, love you, Coach Ambrose, if I'm not yelling at you, that's a problem. And I used to think, what? How is that possible? Like, if he's not yelling at me, that means I'm doing something well. And I realized after talking with some of my other coaches that when they stop yelling at you, they gave up on you. They realize you've reached your full potential, or they realize you don't care, or they realize you're not worth their time. When they still yell at you and push you to continue to grow, critiquing you, that means they see more in you. So isn't that the biggest compliment in the world? Knowing that you have someone that wants to make you better, they see more in you than you see in yourself. Maybe criticisms are really just us being able to reach our peak.
That's the thing. That's the difficult thing as a young adult, though, because you think that criticism is like, oh, I'm not good. I'm doing something wrong. I'm taking this to the heart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dang, I shouldn't be here. I just read the Netflix book, No Rules Rules. Their culture of candor is crazy. They talk exactly how they feel to each other, whether it's a product shit or not. And there's nothing personal about it. It's for the better of the business, better of the mission that they're doing. It's like, I'm going to call you out and I'm going to say it, not because I have something personal against you. It's because if I tell you the reality of the situation, you're going to learn and grow and be better. And as a result, we're both going to be better because the company's going to be better and the product's going to be better, all of that. But in today's day and age, do we have that culture of candor all the time? No way. And that's why sometimes it is easy to just criticize without giving the real reason why you're criticizing.
I love it. And I think once you become comfortable with criticism, that's when you can truly grow from the people around you.
That's tough. It's tough.
Right? But, I mean, if you only are able to feel like you can listen to good things, haven't you already reached your full potential then? You can't get any better. You won't improve. You can't learn.
There's one last thing I want to talk about, and I know we're coming up on 15, but it's the book talked about this idea of like the CEO of a company that is a good company, but not necessarily. It could be so much better because the CEO portrays himself in this light, and everyone below him or her respects the CEO so much. They never criticize the person at the top. Whereas Netflix, the culture is they criticize up. You could have a staff criticizing the CEO. And that's just embedded in who they are because it's the better of the company and the mission. And it's interesting. What if we did that in other areas of our life? Criticizing
I don't know why I
with
just thought of
intention.
I saw like a grocery store where someone's like bagging your groceries and you're like faster, like yelling at them. Yeah, I mean it'd be a weird world, right? If everyone just helped push each other and critique each other to do better at their life, at their profession.
That'd be weird. That'd be weird.
It's a weird world.
But for the betterment, it has nothing to do with ego or status or whatever.
You just want faster food, faster groceries, a better coffee. You were able to just
that's why
critique. That's what Yelp is.
The government kind of does it in some way with checks and balances and whatnot.
Yeah.
Left, right, they all criticize each other, but we've seen how that, goes.
Dude, Yelp is the real life hidden criticism machine. You can shit on all these restaurants and establishments, tell them what they did wrong and help them improve. It's the modern suggestion box.
It's the accountability business. That's what Yelp is in.
That was a Rich Keller line right there.
There you go. All right,
Love
I got to
it.
go, get on with my criticisms for the day. No, just
All
kidding.
right.
We're not criticizing.
Go
We're
criticize
criticizing with
JJ's cooking.
intention.
Just kidding, JJ. I'm sure you made an amazing dinner. All right, Elevation Nation. That was 42 and 15. Talking about criticism. Until next week. Peace.